guys ready there? Minutes.
I have a question.
Okay.
So regarding what the CAO just said, you need a motion from council for you to bring back the unsightly bylaw for a future meeting with what you had just stated?
What I'm saying is any policy changes council wishes to make and have referred to administration, a motion is the way to go about it.
Okay.
Well, I will entertain that motion if you wish to make it.
Okay, so I would like to make motion to direct administration to bring back the unsightly bylaw for possible policy changes.
That's fine. And again, as I suggested to council, that could be an item that we include as a budgetary impact item. We have some broader public feedback on the initiative, just like council's doing with water or the splash pad or whatever. If you're moving from status quo to something different that may be predicated in a new bylaw, some type of outreach would be helpful.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Any questions, Judy?
So when, to the chair, when will the bylaw committee meet and review this bylaw and bring it back to council for our review?
The meeting, I don't know if an invitation's been sent out to the current members of the committee, but that's been requested that a meeting be scheduled.
I haven't received anything yet.
So there's an issue between reviewing the bylaw through the bylaw committee and fundamentally changing the policy issue. So generally, council cannot delegate a change of policy to the bylaw committee. They can ask administration to make recommendations, which then could be referred to the bylaw committee for consideration. But the sequencing is important. All I'm suggesting is council can direct administration now to enhance the advocacy and awareness under the current bylaw as a step before considerations of changes to the bylaw are made. But obviously, we have 112 unsightlies undertaken to date. There may be a difference of opinion of the residents what we should be doing in terms of unsightlies. So if we have that high rate of non-compliance, maybe council wishes to hear from the general population that would be impacted by the bylaw before undertaking changes to the bylaw.
But well, through the email correspondence, it appears that the bylaw is unclear. And that's what I was hoping to see us have a discussion in clarifying the bylaw to educate the public on, or to see where our downfalls are in the bylaw. Maybe they are unclear. We might think they're unclear, but I think we should have a discussion on that, so to get the bylaw committee to bring it forward to council and make it more clear. Waiting till budget time, I find that's too far in the future. I think this is an issue that we need to deal with as soon as possible. This is a time sensitive.
Like I through the chair, I don't think the bylaw is unclear. The bylaw is very clear. The issue is what people want in the bylaw isn't in the bylaw. So it's clear currently the bylaw does not allow us to enforce it as it stands. So if council wishes that to happen, I'm suggesting a broader community consultation happen in relation to the totality of the bylaw. So I'll leave that with council. You're suggesting it's time sensitive. The bylaw's been in place for the last 15 years as it is. Council can define if that's time sensitive or not.
Time sensitive is the clarity and the understanding of the bylaw. Because this has been on our radar now for a couple of months. And it seems like it's just an ongoing thing, and from the perception of public, it's not getting dealt with. So maybe there is a misunderstanding or a bylaw is not clear enough to the residents.
My question is the perception of public. Are we talking about 30 people in the public in our community that haven't, that, you know? Because this is where I'm at in terms of this whole thing. There are, you can if you listen. There are people that don't have the same finances as other people. There are people that are elderly. There are people that, and we need to take all of that into consideration. Our community is a community. It's not a group of people that view other people and make a judgment based on what they see. It's a community that comes together and we deal with things as a community. And so I take issue when we look at, or when we say, well, there's people that don't understand or there's confusion about the bylaw, because I agree with Bill. 15 years we've had this bylaw and there have been no questions, and now all of a sudden it's an issue. And so that's where I'm coming from. Are we listening to everyone, or are we listening to a group of people that have decided that this is not appropriate?
Donna?
Every summer, this is an issue. Every summer, it's an issue on, we get complaints about unsightlies, and then it's like, okay, who's responsible for the back alleys? Is it an enforcement thing, or is it a clarification thing? That's sort of where I'm at with my query. Is it, like, people aren't understanding that they're responsible, or we're making it unclear that they're responsible? It's sort of where I'm at, because it comes up every year. It's just that this year we have a person who's actually very diligent in letting us know that as he's walking around town, he's going, okay, this is what I'm seeing. What's the plan and who's supposed to deal with this? And I understand what you're saying, Bill, in terms of right now we have, what did you say, like 100 and something. So obviously there's an issue of either clarification or understanding on the bylaw.
So if I could again through the chair, I know people are saying that the bylaw is not clear. The bylaw is very, very clear. The interpretation of the bylaw has been loosely interpreted. The bylaw currently does not require any resident of the town to maintain the back alley. It's not in the bylaw. So let's be factual. It's not there. If council wishes administration to change the bylaw, please provide direction, and then administration can undertake the process to change the bylaw. All I'm suggesting is, given the number of residents that would be impacted by a potential change in the bylaw, I would strongly encourage council to have a broader public consultation about any change to the bylaw. But in terms of direction from council, to date, there has been no direction from council. And this, again, is a policy issue. We are currently enforcing the bylaw as it is written.
Okay, so I'm gonna go backward. I mean, you're saying that for 15 years, the town's always been responsible for the back alleys, yes?
No.
What did you just say, Bill? Didn't you just say that?
No, I didn't. I'm saying the bylaw is not enforceable, and currently the town cannot request residents to maintain back alleys. It's not in the bylaw. What has been said is words like, it's been past practice, it's been this. That doesn't give us legislative authority to enforce what people may want in the bylaw.
And from my memory, and I mean, we're digressing here, but from my memory, the town was responsible for the back alleys because that was, the garbage pickup was in the back. So they graded it in the wintertime, they brushed it so the garbage trucks could get through the width, et cetera, so there was no impediment to the garbage truck. That's sort of now changed because the garbage is being picked up in the front. So I guess my question to you, Bill, is what is it that you need from us to move forward with the bylaw?
The motion you said, which I would just suggest that public consultation be part of the administration review of the current bylaw.
Okay.
Do you want to amend your motion?
I will amend my, sorry. I will amend my motion to include, administration, enter into public consultation in regards to any possible changes to the bylaw. Okay, we got that? We got that?
There's one. Trace, you have something?
No, I was just gonna add, I really see the importance of bringing it to the people, for sure. Because it is quite drastic in change of, as Councillor Dunn mentioned already, and I won't repeat, of how people look after their places or priorities or elderly or otherwise. So the elderly will have to get somebody to do it. There's a lot of implications to it, is all I'm trying to say, so changing in that. So if it's taken to the people, then we can get a very good idea of, is that a change that people want to see and people can commit to, because it would take away from our officers as well, because then, okay, that's a change in there, so they'll be going up and down the back alleys. That's fine if we want them to be doing that, and maybe they do have time to be doing that. But personally, I would rather they've been going around the businesses and making sure that we can maybe someday open up our tellers in town again. So it's just a matter of priorities. We have 2 officers that go out and do that. That would change their work as well in there. So all I'm trying to say is there's a lot of implications to it. It's just not a matter of changing something.
John?
I just want to add to that in terms of capacity. Like, when we start looking at this and creating bylaws and stuff, we need to consider capacity for maintaining that. And like, you know, I would hate for us to create a law, a bylaw that impacts people that do not have the capacity, cannot purchase a lawnmower, cannot purchase the equipment needed to maintain that stuff, right? And how are we gonna figure that?
And that's fair, like I said during the break, I picked up a weed eater and it was $1,100. And that's, you know, for somebody on a fixed income, that's a lot.
For seniors.
Yeah. Any further discussion?
Just one final point I'd make, and whether it doesn't have to wait for the budget process, but as councillors are discussing, there will be budgetary implications related to this. There's a myth that we have 2 bylaw officers or peace officers on staff. That's a myth in the sense that we contract out to 4 other communities, contract out to the town to provide services for them. So those 2 peace officers are not dedicated to the town boundaries. They're doing servicing in the county, in another community such as Blair and other communities. So, you know, please remember that when you look at the totality of the resources. Again, it's gonna come down to priorities. Any bylaw will take away, if the council wants attention in this particular area, some of the other issues that seem to be high priorities, council may also suffer. So that's the intent of administration, reporting back on the totality of the issue, not necessarily focusing on this is going to solve it from a bylaw perspective, because there's significant other implications.
Okay. Bailey, can you read the motion as it stands right now?
To direct administration to bring back unsightly bylaw for public changes and for an administration to, I missed a word there, incorporate public consultation regarding changes.
Okay, everybody understand the motion? Any further discussion? All those in favor? That is carried, thank you. All right. Now we'll move on to the minutes. We have in front of us the minutes from July 23rd. Are there any errors, omissions, corrections?
You wanna get a motion first?
Oh, yeah, let's do that. I will, yeah, did I say that? I'll entertain a motion to accept these minutes as presented, or with a motion. Or whatever. Anybody want to make a motion on the
Hang on. Oh, somebody make a motion.
Well, you can always make a motion.
Well, no,
Yeah.
no, because I'm not accepting these minutes. There's an error in.
The council approved the minutes from July 23rd, 2024, regular meeting of council as presented.
Okay. Questions and comments on this? Judy?
So on 17.2.1 confidential items, there was 2 items in camera. And the records show only 1 was discussed.
But through the chair, the minutes are reflecting the motions council made, not the discussions. So the minutes are reflective of the motions that were made in the in-camera session.
Yes, that's what I'm kind of pointing out is council is slipping on making their motions coming out of camera to reflect what the discussions were. Because there was 2 discussions in the in-camera.
That is correct, but there was only 1 motion made by council.
Okay, anything else, Judy?
No.
John? Anything?
It's just a question, I wasn't at the meeting, but 2.1, Jennifer Churchill, did they attend that meeting as well as?
No,
Okay.
no, they, there was a mix-up there and they didn't make it, so that's why they came tonight.
Okay, so should that not be noted in the minutes? Like did not attend or absent or whatever?
Yep,
Okay.
you're right. That should be, we can just change that to reschedule, I think would probably be.
Yeah, like I'm able to attend reschedule to
Yeah.
the August 13th meeting.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions, Sasha? John? Good, Trace? Okay, we have a motion with the one with the correction there, that they were not, Jennifer was not here, it was rescheduled. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried? Okay, so we have a member of public that would like to be a public delegation. This would be a change to the agenda. It will require unanimous consent from council. So does anybody have any opposition to a member of the public making a public delegation at this time? Donna?
No.
Good. Therese? Judy? John? Sasha? You're up.
My name is Sheldon Bossert, and I am a resident in High Prairie. I apologize for being late. I was working. I won't take very much of your time, and as I walked in, I was glad to hear the conversation that was going on about the back alleys. What I wanted to come and talk to you about was twofold. One speaks to what you were talking about, because I have heard some of the conversations about the back alleys, and I agree, your bylaw needs some work in that area. Your bylaw, however, is very clear on what is currently in place in terms of backyards and old derelict cars that are in backyards. I have provided you with pictures of both of these. The stuff I have sent you is not just back alleys. I've sent you backyards with cars and buses and vans that have been sunk into the ground almost a foot because they've been there for probably, I'm guessing, close to 5 years or more based on the ages of the cars and based on what's growing through the cars. So that aspect of the bylaw isn't even close to being enforced. The other thing that I just wanted to encourage you to do as council is, so just as I've done where I sent you the pool pass pictures from Valley View and Peace River with examples, I would encourage you to have a look at communities around here that are similar size in terms of what's required of the residents, of homeowners, and back alleys. And I think that will steer you in a pretty clear direction. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So we did the minutes. Any business arising out of the minutes? Nothing, okay. Okay. New business, outstanding citizen policy. All right. Administration will bring back the amended citizen nomination policy for council to review and approve. And I will entertain a motion here. We've got some suggestions. Judy?
I'll make the motion. Make the motion that council forward the outstanding citizen nomination form to the bylaw committee for better clarification and updates to it.
If I could, through the chair, that would not be a proper motion, given that bylaw, the committee does not have the jurisdiction dealing with policy issues of council. So until that's changed by council, policy should not be referred to the bylaw committee because it's outside of their mandate. I discussed this with the bylaw committee last year, and the members were well advised that that would be inappropriate.
Okay. So we can't do that. Would you like to make another motion there, Judy?
And if I could, through the chair, that would be against the motion that council has requested. So administration has responded to the motion that council requested administration to proceed with.
Yeah. Would anybody make a motion on this? Sasha?
Sorry, Bill, just for clarification, is it because the bylaw committee only deals with bylaws and not policies, is that why?
That's correct.
Somebody make the motion. Thank you, John.
I'll make a motion that council approve the following amendments to policy COU-02-0204, outstanding citizen nomination.
Okay. Discussion. Donna?
I guess my question, on 1.14, even though it goes 1, 2, and then 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, it should be 2.2, 2.3, 2. Whatever.
Oh.
That's kind of in the wrong spot. And
Okay.
my other question is, 1.4 says nominee. This year's recipients were a pair, a couple. So is that considered a nominee or nominee? Just for clarification.
You can amend the wording, but I think based on the discussion of council, the intent was to do one award per year.
Yes,
And that may be a group, it may be an individual, it may be,
oh, okay, okay,
but it's a award, one award a year.
okay.
And just for clarity for council, the items that council did ask me to report back on were in the RFP, and they mainly centered around the submission date deadline.
Yeah.
And that was the feedback from council to bring it back on that basis, so that's what administration has done. One other clarification is item 4.2. Well, it's a new item, but it's not in 4.2 has been replaced. That the intent is, once we advertise it, whatever the date is in the advertisement, that's when the submissions are due,
Yes,
for clarity.
So we got the 1.1 that should be 1.4 that should be.
Yeah, all those items under
Okay, so,
category 2 should be renumbered, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3.
okay, so we'll make a note of that, and do we want to finesse the wording on what is now 2.4? That nominee must reside in the Hyper area and may be a couple or a group or organization. Do you want to massage that right now, or
We could put nominee and then put in brackets organization, spouse, partnerships, or
yeah,
to clarify.
I'm fine with that.
okay, anybody else have any problems with that? Judy?
So mine is with 1.1, that any group or individual may submit one or more nomination forms to the town of High Prairie to be forwarded on to the selection committee. I'd like clarification on who the selection committee is.
We are.
So why don't we just say council then?
Because in the policy statement, it says the selection committee consisting of all of town council shall consider one award to be given annually, so it's covered right there. Council is the selection committee, it is covered in the policy statement.
So again, for clarification and to make it more user-friendly, why aren't we just saying council? Why are we using, a selection committee as council, so why not just say council?
Because the policy indicates that town council is the selection committee. But is the big issue if we change it?
We can change it if council wishes. The selection committee consists, or the selection committee is council.
It says that in the statement, but it seems redundant.
I interpreted it as same thing, so, but if you want clarity, we can wordsmith it.
Put after selection committee, put bracket town council.
Well, no, just say that town council shall consider one award to be given annually, just remove selection committee. And just say town council shall consider one award to be given annually to honor the town of High Prairie.
But it does,
Then we would have to amend 4 other clauses in the policy, because it refers to selection committee. And items 4.3, and at least 2 other places that escape me right now, but it's there in other sub-bullets too.
To me, it's clear. The definition is given at the beginning. Does anybody else have a problem problem with that?
No, I think, yeah, I'm reading.
Okay.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
John?
It's a matter, just I know what everyone's saying, and it doesn't matter to me, I go either way.
Okay, anybody else have any questions on this? Donna, good, Therese, Sebastian, John, Judy?
No.
Anything else? Okay. Did I put a motion on the floor? I did. All those in favor? Carry. Thank you. All right. Variance report as of June 30th and capital project summary brought to us by Shannon Duma. Come on down.
Let's get a
Already here.
motion.
Yeah, let's have a motion, or who do we do? Okay, so we're looking for a motion to approve any unspent community grant funds to be allocated to the community grant reserve prior to year end. And we can do that. You want to do that? You want two motions to do that? Two, okay. So I'll entertain a motion that council approve any unspent community grant funds to be allocated to the community grant reserve at year end. I'm looking for somebody to make that motion.
I thought you just needed.
No, I'm, thank you, John. Okay, Shannon. You can only have one motion on that time. Then, like that, and then after we'll receive the information.
Good evening, Deputy Mayor and Council. What you have in front of you is the operating variance as of June 30th and the capital project summary. So if you just want to turn to Appendix A. As you can see, for revenue, there's $162,971 favorable for revenue. This is due to government operating grants of $29,400, and investment revenue, $85,000 favorable, with a greater focus on cash management and increased interest earnings. Utility user fees of $10,000 favorable, due to the greater anticipated bulk water sales due to the new system implementation. Rental revenue is down, unfortunately, due to a vacancy in the admin office and a later start to the campground season. And fines and penalties and licenses being favorable at $42,560 from tax penalties. For expenses, you have $282,290 favorable. This is from salary and employee benefits at $252,000 for position vacancies across all departments. $10,000 favorable for council expenses. This relates to reduced training and conference participation. General business expenses of $8,290. This expense is across all departments of the organization. And municipal operating grants of $12,000 favorable. This relates to council's community grant fund being underspent. So at the special meeting held on December 9th of 2023, council approved a community grant reserve for any community grant funds not spent within the current fiscal year, up to the amount of $50,000. So administration will be moving any unspent funding prior to year end. So any questions on the operating budget?
Yeah.
This is more going to the motion of the community, any unspent goes to the community grant reserve.
Yes.
Why would we not unspent budgeted go into a restricted reserve or unreserved? Because the motion is any unspent funds go to the community grant. But we're talking about our capital budget and our operating budget here.
If I click through the chair, the motion and what we're dealing with currently is Appendix A, which is only the operating budget. The manager of finance has not got to the capital budget as of yet. In terms of that specific motion, the councillor is correct. And as Ms. Dumont has outlined in her report, council has previously at its meeting on December 9th, gave that direction to administration. It's been past practice when we bring the third quarter variance report, administration would then be making recommendations on the disposition of any surplus at that time. It's likely the surplus will grow by the end of September, so it'd be prudent to deal with it once we have a bit clearer forecast of the year-end projections. The numbers that Ms. Dumont is referring to, again, are projected year-end variances, not variances as they exist today. So it's been past practice since I've been here is we will be bringing forward as part of the third quarter variance report the disposition of surplus, and that's what's been done over the past prior 2 years.
Any further questions?
No, I'm still confused.
John?
I'm just wondering around the confusion, just like, cause we're talking about $50,000 going to the community grant, but the rest goes into reserves, right?
That is correct. So when the third quarter variance report comes forward to council based on the period ending September 30th, there'll be recommendations to dispose of that surplus into various reserves. Councillors are using words such as restricted, non-restricted. Those terminologies are incorrect. All reserves of council are restricted reserves because they're for a specific purpose. There'll be recommendations on the disposition of the projected year-end surplus, but again, things can vary between now and September, and they change the aggregate of the disposition of the surplus. And the reason why we're waiting to the end of September is when those motions to move monies to or from a reserve, it has to be exact. It cannot be moved the surplus to reserves. It must be moved $250,000 to this reserve, move $100,000 to this. It has to be very exact to meet the requirements of the MGA and the audit standards.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you for presenting the report, Chanda. So, the office rental, is that a new vacancy or is it Q1?
No, no, it's not new.
Which, vendor moved out of it, which, tenant, I guess?
So just in the admin office here on the other side of the Blue Heron Support Services, it was called. Or Brain Injury Network.
Could you confirm, I believe that space has now been released, or we haven't signed and executed the lease agreement yet?
Not yet.
And anyways, we have another tenant that will potentially be taking over the space.
Donna?
No, I'm okay.
Please?
I'm good.
Okay. So we have the motion on the floor.
I'll do the capital as well.
Oh, okay, yeah, do it all. We'll just deal with that. Both. Okay.
I also have a tracking sheet here for the council's community grant funds, what's been spent to date, so I will hand that out to you guys as well. For the capital projects, we're currently undertaking 19 capital projects. The details are in Appendix B. But to date, all projects are showing an expected savings totaling $40,142, with the fire overhead being completed under budget, saving $9,950, and the fleet replacement with savings of $23,000. But given that construction season is currently underway, future reports will give a better indication of how projects are tracking.
Do we have any questions on Epic Speed? Start this in. Don?
Go around.
Grace?
I don't know,
Sasha? John?
Just in terms of the water treatment plant rates,
John?
is that, sorry. In terms of the water treatment plant rates, is that figure did we budget that amount for this year? So that money is there? The 3 million?
That's correct. Generally, council has to, well, not generally, council must approve the project total, project expenditure, and the funding source for that project. So that was done when the project was approved.
Okay.
Some of these projects will go over multiple years, such as the water plant treatment upgrades. It may actually be over 3 fiscal years, 224 construction and, rehab in 225 and probably going into 226. So it's currently in the design phase. That's likely to be finished before the next quarter, and then it will go to tender. Likewise with the lift station, the design has been done. It will be going to tender within the next week or two. That, given the nature of that lift station, that work can probably start early mid-November and continue in, it's probably around a 3-month project. So we'll finish 2 or 3 months into 225. But on the capital side, given the nature of any particular project, they may span more than 1 fiscal year, but the funding for the totality of the project is in place.
Okay. Thank you.
Judy?
Okay, so starting with number 8, we have admin sidewalk, and the contract was awarded. Do we have a name to who was awarded the contract?
We can provide that. I don't have it. That's top of my tongue here.
Okay, so moving on to 11,
Hold it down, maybe.
Um,
It was the same firm that did the sidewalk work at the museum.
Correct.
Oh, Mountain Rock?
Mountain Rock Development, sorry.
it's just, I'd like to know these contractors, so when these people come looking for sponsorship.
I just cautioned council on that because that would be prohibited under our purchasing bylaw.
For a nonprofit to seek out sponsorship.
That's not what you said, council. You said when we seek sponsorship. So
Oh.
I assume you were
No,
implying that.
no, we don't. So the lawnmower, I see, is this the number 11, the lawnmower set, the one that the rest department wanted?
Well, as I explained to council, we don't operate that anymore. We were pooling all our equipment, and it will be used for grass cutting by numerous departments.
Oh, because we went over budget there.
Yes, by $800, yes,
800.
correct.
Okay, so, going down to number 13, the aquatic fire alarm upgrade. Was that not a high priority when we were doing budget deliberations?
Yes, Councillor, as I mentioned during our last update on the first quarter, it is high priority. It's been a high priority for the last 2 years. However, none of the specifications or design were completed prior to the budget deliberation. So given that the rec manager has left, I've been undertaking that work.
And the sidewalk replacement replacement, is that the same contractor?
No, that may or may not be a different contractor, but I believe it is. I'd like to check where that stands before I confirm that.
Okay. Number 18, the asphalt resurfacing. Was that done in-house or did we contract that one out? Is that?
That was done in-house, and I reported on that at the last council meeting, and I indicated, I believe, the savings from doing it in-house. I can't remember whether it was 40 or 60,000 for undertaking that work in-house. And I'm confident in that estimate because we had external contractors provide bids, potential bids, and pricing for the job, and that's the basis of the savings.
And that's it. That's it for my questions. Thank you.
Donna, did you find what you were,
Actually, what I was looking for was what Judy had highlighted, that I have highlighted.
okay,
So I'd just like to alert council when the agenda comes out for the next meeting, will be an additional capital budget request. That is an emergency request dealing with the water line crossing over the river. So that's, there'll be an RFP at the next council meeting dealing with that, but council should consider it, and administration is highly recommending that the work be approved in this fiscal year. But you'll understand it greater when the RFP is before you at the next council meeting.
do we have any, no further questions of that? That's your, okay, so we have a motion on the floor. And that is,
Well, now you can.
no, they want to. So the first motion is council approve any unspent community grant funds to be allocated to the community grant reserve prior to year end. Further discussion? All those in favor? Done? Okay, opposed? Thank you. Okay, that is carried. I will now I'll entertain a second motion that the council receives this report for information. Judy. Okay, any further discussion on the matter?
Well, let me make the motion.
Okay,
The council received this report for information.
fair enough. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Carried. And you gotta leave it real quick here. Quick. All right. That's. So next, we are to staff reports. We have, CEO by council report, so I will entertain a motion. The council receives CEO Bill McKinnon's report and action list for information.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, John. Does anybody have any questions for the CAO, or do you have anything you want to expand on in your report? Bill?
And through the chair, the last two bullets, we provide a bit more commentary. Rachel, 140 and 172 is the road adjacent from the county building going into the road access for West Fraser. The county has received communication from the Ministry of Transportation saying site improvements must be made there. We've had some preliminary discussions, which includes discussions with West Fraser. And there'll be a sequence of reports coming to council. The county will be asking clarification from the Federal Ministry of Transportation on the scope and extent of upgrades they're looking for. Hopefully that will result in a lower cost expenditure. That being said, regardless of what the cost is, council will likely see a report for a STIP grant for the project, which would provide roughly 70% of the funding for the project. And if that does not proceed, we will also be asking the council to approve a STIP well, the county will be doing the STIP grant application. Obviously, they would like a letter of support from this council. In addition, we will be recommending the council that an ECP joint application be made between the town and the county to undertake any upgrades at that intersection. So that's it in a nutshell. If you want any more, I'll have to go on camera. On the regional subdivision and appeal board agreement, it's up for renewal. We had a meeting actually this afternoon dealing with that. Currently, each municipality does it differently, but the parties to the existing agreement are Big Lakes, the town of Swan Hills, town of Slave Lake, and the town of High Prairie. There's a bunch of technical stuff, but basically because the county and the town of High Prairie have the MCP being all members of council, that creates some difficulty with the regional board, because if you sit on the MCP, you can't sit on the appeal committee. So that shortchanges the town per se. So anyways, there'll be a draft agreement coming back. What we'll be asking for each of the council's support is to have a regional appeal board. That means we have to have less people trained. All members have to be trained. You're now required to have an official clerk for the committee. We would be sharing that resource between the 4 municipalities. 2 of the larger municipalities have agreed to underwrite that cost, but it would just provide a lot more transparency and economies for the town to go with the regional model without being disadvantaged. So 1, we don't have the resources to resource the committee. 2, none of the members of council can sit on the appeal committee. Or we would have to amend the MCP protocols to allow more citizen rep on that. Just for council's information, in the last 3 years, there have been no appeals from the town related to the appeal board. There has been from other communities. So that's where that stands. So it's an agreement that's in place, and it just needs to be refreshed with a few little minor housekeeping items. So that concludes my report.
Does anybody have any questions? Sort of the same. Therese? Donna? Sasha? John?
I do not.
Judy? Yeah, not busy this week, no. Okay, do we have a motion on the floor? I'm sure we have a motion on the floor.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, you made that, right?
I do have a question.
Okay, John?
Are we any further ahead in getting a response or a meeting with the Minister of
Children's Services.
the,
Children's Services.
yes,
In regards to, yes. So there has been 2 communications written. I discussed it with the mayor, who will be writing the letter directly to the premier now, and to the MLA Scott Sinclair, asking why we have not received any response to our 2 written letters to date.
okay.
Anything else? All those in favor? Carried. You know. We have in front of us some correspondence, we got some letters from beautification. We want to, let's see, do you want to discuss these one by one, or do you want to just receive, what do you guys want to do? You want to receive them all for information at the same time, or do you want to read each one? We'll do it individually. Okay, so we got the letter from beautification. I'll entertain a motion to accept this for information.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Donna. Any discussion?
Yes. I would like, well, this will come up later, but ensure that we advertise as well, because Facebook seems to light up. Facebook seems to be triggered on when is light up, so that we help them out with advertising on that.
Can we, on our website, can we put a, I don't know if we can do it, like, just on the calendar, put it on the calendar, light up, and then like just something on the side or something, I don't know how easy it is to play with our website, just something that says light up November 20.
So yes, we will put it on the community calendar and, we'll put this as an announcement, but was a refresh that it appears once every 2 weeks, so the light up happens.
Sure, okay. All right, anything else? All those in favor? Carried. Another letter from beautification. Oh, no, just one. Okay, nothing much left. No, we dealt with that already. Okay, so then we got a letter from Rick McIver. I'll entertain a motion to receive this information.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Donna. Any discussion? All those in favor? Carried. All right. Written in verbal reports. We're gonna keep this simple, we're just gonna go down the line.
What about this from Mr. Morgan? Gandon, about the Jasper
Oh, sorry.
thing.
Councillor, that wasn't officially added, but if council wishes, that was my mistake. I thought it was, deadline was this month, the deadline's not for September, but council can deal with it now if they wish.
Okay.
We can, with unanimous consent, we can add this to the correspondence, so Donna?
No.
I just got it this morning, Donna, do you mind, since there's no deadline, can we bring it
Yeah,
to
that's, yeah, sure. We can add it to the next one.
I'll put it on the next meeting then. All right, written and verbal reports. Donna?
I have no report, but, I just wanna say, I'm really disappointed in our, representation from our current MLA. We have invited him on numerous occasions to come to council, which he has yet to do. When I went to his open house in Slave Lake, I reiterated that numerous times. He said his plan was to come up in August and bring ministers, which has yet to happen. He was invited to the Treaty 8, 100 and whatever, 25, he did not show. He was invited to the Elks Pro Rodeo, he did not show. I don't know if he responded saying as to why. I know he has been to the county and has toured around with them. I know he's met with Drift Pile. I know he has met with Holy Family regarding the potential of their new school and whatever. But he has yet to take time out of his, when he's in this area, to stop in to the town, even if it's for 5 minutes to stop in and see Bill. He has not come in and introduced himself to any of this council. I'm really disappointed. I'm starting to feel like it's Pat Rain 2.0. At least Pat didn't show up and ignored us. Scott's in the area and is ignoring us. I would like some type of correspondence sent to the UCP caucus, the premier, stating, we have asked this gentleman to show up. He has been in our area and has to date not come. And express, I don't know if anybody else feels this way, to express our dissatisfaction. That's me personally. I don't know if anybody else feels dissatisfied. Maybe it's just me. But I have no report.
Further to,
Just a minute though, but you opened it up for questions.
yeah,
Okay.
that could be your report. Further, I'll add a little bit to that in that, as far as the Elks Rodeo goes, I don't know about the rodeo part itself. I did speak with his executive assistant as to whether or not he would be participating in the parade. He was pretty sure he was not going to be able to, There was a caucus meeting that morning, probably dealing with Jasper since it was all, you know, in the middle of the big fire there. So not making the parade, I can understand, but I can't disagree with you otherwise. Other comments, Judy?
Well, that was kind of where I was going. Can you confirm that he was invited and invited by who? And if he responded, and if there were other emergencies,
Well,
other
like I
issues
said,
going on?
he was invited
By who?
by the Elks.
And you can confirm that?
I can confirm that.
Okay.
As far as Treaty 8, I'm assuming they invited, being that he was the MLA. I don't know who to confirm that with. But like I said, I don't know if he responded to them saying that he couldn't make it. But for me, I'm just a little disappointed in the representation that we're getting. Because I know once he was elected, we sent the letter congratulating him, inviting him to a council meeting. James, you have done it. I know Brian has done it when they met up with him. I've done it when, like I said, when I went to his open house. He still has not showed up.
Just for council's information on all the public events, the MLA is also invited, such as the Crime Forum, such as Growing the North, and others probably escape me, but any of those bigger initiatives, administration has requested and are invited the MLA in addition to other members.
And also, I know he said he has his campaign office in Slave Lake, or his campaign office, his constituency office in Slave Lake. He's only gonna have the one, okay, I get it. He said he was going to have at least monthly or bi-monthly open houses here in town. I know he had one. I don't know if he's had more. Has anybody heard of any more than one? At the first one, I haven't seen it either. So, yeah, I share Donna's concern. John, you
I'm just wondering, has he responded to, requests with a letter back stating that why he could make it or that he wouldn't be there? No?
Staff were indicated, excuse me, through the chair, staff have indicated no response. Generally, there were, from the town's perspective, there were email invites to his office and to himself. Staff were indicating there was no response.
And then secondly, do we get any information when he is coming to town from his office?
I have not received any information from his office since the election.
Okay. Because hasn't he been in the community with Danielle Smith at some point?
He has a premier's dinner upcoming in Slave Lake at the end of August. Danielle has been in Grand Prairie and the Creek. I don't know if the MLA was in attendance with him. I believe it's Scott Nolan, or Todd Nolan, because I think that's his area.
Yeah.
Was there.
No, Dan Smith, or Dan Williams would have been.
I can't remember who it was, but yeah. And the other thing too, when I brought this up when we were discussing this a few meetings back regarding the letter that was sent from the health minister regarding the fact that High Prairie is not going to get chemo. If a letter was sent to the MLA advising him of that, he never responded in saying, just to make you aware, this is not happening. So it's kind of like we're getting no feedback from him in terms of what's happening, what the government's doing. There's been no response regarding, trying to get his help setting up meetings with you know, the children's services regarding YAC. I'm just at a loss, because I really had high hopes, because he was from the area. And it just hasn't materialized, for me anyway.
Session? Anything? Trees?
I know, I guess just to say it's very disappointing, and I think we're owed an explanation, because it's been since, how long has it been now? I can see at the beginning being busy and sorting oneself out and, you know, getting your priorities, you know, but I mean, it's been how long already, so it'd be nice to get an explanation.
All right, I believe we have a motion on the floor no? No, would you like to move your report?
I did, I moved my verbal report.
That's not on me.
Yeah, that's not on you.
All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Carried. All right. John?
I have no report.
Okay. Sasha?
Bill, my apologies for not asking this during your report. For the upcoming AUMA, have we reached out to ministerial, to make ministerial meeting appointments?
There's been no direction from council, and council wishes that to happen. What I would suggest is not rehash old items, because you're not likely to get a favorable request for time. And I'm not aware of any policy issues council wishes to address. Well, I could suggest a few, but again, that's a policy direction from council.
Okay, so then,
So one member of council has made a resolution, and that resolution is on the conference material. But if council wishes to meet with ministers, council needs to act on it.
okay. Well, I think we need to put out those invitations. I mean, I don't even know if it's already late, because we're in August. So that was question one. Secondly, I know you had mentioned, I believe this was the last council meeting in your reports, that you had a connection and you were meeting with Dwayne from the Treaty 8 committee for the hockey thing. So has that gone?
That was an in-camera discussion, so council wishes to go in camera, I can provide an update.
Okay. Okay, then I have nothing further. How would this council want to do the AUMA? Like, I think that we should, but I'll leave it open to council to direct administration. Are there top 3 ministers that we want to, you know, given that maybe all of them won't be realistic? Can we do a top 3 or a top 5? What is the thought?
I think we need to make a request to actually meet with, and actually he met with us when we were in Edmonton, like that was the thing at the last day in meeting. He met, Scott met with us, right, at Parliament. So we need to at least meet with him, and I think then we can have a candid conversation about what's happening. And you know, I think we need to meet with the Children's Services Minister to have a conversation with him. Would like to have a conversation with him. And then, what's the Department of, what's that? Tourism, who's
Ministry for, I don't know who that is.
Is that the Economic Development Job Creation?
There's a ministry of tourism, or at least there used to be. I don't know if it's its own ministry anymore. It's been absorbed. Another one maybe that we could think about is transportation, because we didn't meet with anybody last year. We met with somebody who was filling in and somebody who was leaving on Friday, and the minister wasn't there.
So the transportation one, I'm clear what that's about in terms of the briefing notes, and that's not an issue. Presumably Children's Services is specifically about the acts. So I'm just encouraging council to, what are the topics, because that's what their staff will be asked about reviewing to see if you get to meet, if there's no topics and there's no specificity to the meeting, the chances of meeting are diminished.
I'll find topics. Well, let's
See,
make.
I'm thinking transportation might be a good one, from what you mentioned before, and I don't have enough information. I think we should put transportation on the list.
Yeah, and I concur with that, and given we did not receive a formal response from transportation, those items that were on the last briefing note, which were 749 repaving, Highway 2 repaving, and the third one escapes me at this moment, but we can brush off the old briefing note, but there was one additional item which escapes me, but it was those two, not only to get the resurfacing, the reconstruction of it done, seeking assistance to co-sponsor some local rehabilitation of our infrastructure when those roads are being reinstated.
Great. So I think we've got our list here now, the Sasha, that was, George, you wanna add that to your?
I was also going to ask the council here about how Minister LaGrange for help, the cancer therapies being,
Yeah, again, there's, we can do anything, and maybe it doesn't preclude councillors perhaps emailing me with some other initiatives, and then I can draft the appropriate briefing notes. But health could be the same, and we can tailor a briefing note similar to what's already been stated, but with a slant from the town's perspective.
Okay.
so Bill, what would you like, a motion to direct administration to, for the specified ministries that we've talked about, transportation, child services, tourism, health. I had public safety in here, but if you think that it's redundant, then we won't do public safety.
We go through them again, councillor. The first one was,
Transportation,
so I know what the content of now would be.
children's
Services, the act would
Yeah.
be,
Yeah, I've got tourism,
okay, and
economic development, whatever that.
so what would be the themes council wishes to address?
Just,
We can do a general growing the north type theme.
yeah, well, given what was said, what we've heard this evening with this stuff, can we not talk about why, this end of the Lesser Slave Lake, or it won't even Slave Lake, like the fact that you have Grand Prairie and all these other places that are getting, into Alberta publications, and we're not. And what is the reason for that?
Is that the ministry's article? Is that,
Well, maybe we could get some insight as to what we need to do, like so when we're talking with the minister, is it the same, give us some understanding or that you guys, that, your government could help us with, or where we need to improve.
What do you need from us for us to get there?
Yeah, exactly. Can you concoct something in that light?
Yes, and I think the other point is, it's been the current government's policy to retrench funding of the old economic development agencies. So they've basically set up a framework where you're in or you're out, and if you're not in from the start, you're not gonna get funding in subsequent years. So that's a challenge for all the broader regional tourism associations in the province, but they appear to make a policy decision already to defund these tourism groups, so.
do you want me to continue the list?
Yeah, just for I know,
Transportation, child services, tourism, health, RMLA Sinclair. I could take off public safety, because I know here you mentioned English, but that's infrastructure, we already have it in it, so I'm not sure why we didn't. Those are the 5 I've got.
So, I guess maybe what I'm looking at is, is in a small rural community, how can we incorporate AI to benefit what are the benefits that come with that? And how far is our government advanced in that? What can we use to enhance, all the different aspects that come with cyber technology?
I was just thinking, I'd love to see AI counselors. No, with AI.
I saw that movie, it didn't end well.
So that's my motion, guys. It's to direct administration to reach out to the 5 prescribed ministers and MLAs as stated.
You got all that, Dan? Yeah, okay. Any further questions? All those in favor? Carried? All right, next, Mayor's not here. Judy?
I have no report.
Okay. Hold on, last, so Therese? Oh, done.
Can I ask you a question on your report from the 13th?
Not tonight.
Because you weren't at the 13th and I wasn't at the 23rd. So in your report from the 13th, you had stated, contacted numerous ministers via email. Can you expand on who you contacted and for what purpose?
I can discuss that with you later.
What?
You might.
I can discuss that with you later.
Oh, okay. You don't want to discuss it amongst.
Well, no, because I tried to bring up, on discussions from previous meetings that I've missed, and I was
Oh, okay.
dismissed that I couldn't ask those questions if I missed
Okay.
that meeting,
Fair enough.
so, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Therese?
No report.
Okay. So I'm having meetings per se. I did take part in the Elks Rodeo Parade. I drove our MP around. I asked him if there was any programming, any way, any money, somehow to get a police dog here. And he said, well, there's this one program that's extremely underutilized. Something like $13 million was left on the table last year. I'm like, oh boy, send that to me. And he did, and it's for First Nation and Métis. And I'm like, son of a. And then I was talking with the mayor actually about it a little bit. He said, well, maybe Drift Pile could do something because they've got Lakeshore right there. So I talked to Chief Dwayne Levican and forwarded him the information because he's like, well, yeah, take a look at that. So maybe if we can get the dog in the area, I don't care how we get it, just dog back here. And then the library, sorry, spoke with Tracy with the library. There was they want to pass on thank you for the HVAC company that's doing the stuff. Several centimeters of debris was removed from the HVAC system, and that seems to have helped. There's some concern about toilets, and we're going to work on that. There's a busted window in the back alley. She talked about the glass is on back order, it sounds like. And I mean, I get it, glass used to be really easy to get, and it's just not anymore. And shipping it up special, I know just from at the dealership, it's stupid expensive, right? So perhaps Lexan or something like that can be used, it can be explored. In the parking lot, the resurfacing of the parking lot, awesome. They have a penny carnival there. That was a massive success, as always. The one thing is that with the resurfacing, there's just the short Jersey barriers there. they'd like, we had them there before, but they'd like them put back, because if you go over the edge of the asphalt and you're on the grass, and it's easy to do, you're not getting back unless you got a truck. I could name somebody who did that, but I won't. I think the CAO is probably aware of who it is. But it would be nice to have that there so people don't get stuck in the parking lot. If that's something that administration can look at.
We will attempt, those barriers are not cheap. But, given that we will likely have, money left from the joint program, that council may remember the paving of the parking lot and, 52nd Street were combined as one project. So there's likely to be, significant savings there that could assist in this.
Yeah, and like, it doesn't have to be the big ones, just go shortcut butters.
Right.
Because I know the big ones are more expensive, but
Yeah, they're all expensive.
do you have any just lying around?
We could cut down a few trees in America. No, we don't.
There are a few trees that need to get cut down. Okay, and, and I guess I reached out to, Scott Sinclair's office about participating in the, rodeo and was told that an emergency caucus meeting there, he would not, in all likelihood, be at the parade. I didn't see him at the rodeo at all, so. That's my report. I'll move that for information. Any questions? Sasha?
I'm not sure if it was last meeting, it was a committee of the whole meeting, but we discussed the library back, it's that barrier, and we're moving it so it's on a bench, you know. Were you aware of that conversation? If you're not, then was the committee of the whole?
Leave it was a committee,
Okay.
we have looked at it,
Okay.
and we're looking at alternative solutions. So on the library issues, you know, it's been, people have been on vacation, but there is a commitment for Tracy, the manager of roads, me, potentially a board member, and myself to do a sort of walkthrough of what the totality of issues are. And that does include putting in cameras at the library location.
One of the things that came up, James, was that one corner in the back does not have a light and lights and it turns. While you're doing the walkthrough, can you please put that garbage, if they could just put a very simple lock on it, because I've seen people just use that as a public, you know, disposal site, and they're not library people. So, very simple lock would help.
And that's something we've been working with the contractors on. It's problematic for some of the contractors because they don't have keys and people use different locks. But like you say, they're not the only ones. There are bin divers everywhere in town going into every bin. So.
Yeah, and that's been a problem since the day after I moved here, and I watched somebody watch the garbage truck come and empty the dumpster behind the apartment building, and I said, put it down, garbage truck went away, truck pulled up, not from anybody that lives in the apartment, and they literally filled the dumpster. What the hell do you do, right? So, I get it. Anything further? No, trees. Sasha, that's everything. John, Judy, Robin. All right, all those in favor? Oh, my God, we made it through. 10 minutes. Oh.
So I know I made a motion, it was carried. I don't know that I moved my, my local report, but I have secret, so.
Actually, we didn't vote on your motion.
No.
Oh,
we did.
shit, we did.
Okay, let's do that then.
Okay, motion was to extend the information. And I apologize for that. All those in favor?
Well, okay.
I did vote.
Oh, okay.
There was two motions there, was the list.
So her motion
The
supersedes
list
mine.
of- Yes, but the list of ministers.
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah, that's what, there's two motions.
We're-
Whichever one went first.
We're voting on the report. The motion is,
Let's do that.
Okay, so on a report, on Sessions report, carried, on setting up meetings with the ministers and MLAs as discussed. Okay, my report, Well, we did, but we had to do it properly, because my motion was an improper motion at that point. All right, 10-minute break, and